Today on the Topic Show, JD Vance calls out debate moderators, Kamala Harris' husband accused of assaulting women, Gavin Newsom signs a new law outlawing requirements for voter ID, port workers strike underway and the leader says they will cripple us, Ford surpasses general orders in EV sales in Q3, Elon donates Starlink units for the hurricane relief, and Bank of America has an outage where some customers say they see $0 balances. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder released twice today. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have port workers on strike saying that they will cripple us, which, granted, it does mean, of course, economically, because the U.S. imports so many of our goods. And why they're allowed to basically have a single kill switch on the economy is beyond me. But they are one of the largest unionized forms of laborers, and guess what? They don't want to adapt. They're actually pushing back in terms of the contract negotiations. They don't want any automation. They're not looking for retraining, which inevitably they should be negotiating that they would get retraining so they can work with the new tools, but they don't want that because again that would mean not necessarily less jobs but different jobs, because then there would be more software jobs, robotics engineering jobs, but lesser low barrier entry jobs, lesser simplistic manual labor jobs. Now here's a little summary of the statistics in terms of it's already a couple days. This is day one. This comes to us thanks to Kyle H. over at the good old, well, not really good old, but moderately okay, interesting site, LinkedIn. And he says, quote, day one of the ILA port strike. Here are some numbers we're watching. Day one, 2.45 million. The number of metric tons in total cargo weight for shipments identified in our TradeView platform, scheduled to arrive at US NYC in the next 90 days, currently higher than even LAX. 38 billion equals the estimated cargo value for all transit shipments scheduled to arrive in ILA ports next 90 days. Oh, that's true. Little touchscreen issue. 348 equals the number of vessels on the water listing U.S. East and Gulf Coast ports in their destination. The vessels have over 441,000 individual shipments identified in TradeView, with 746,000 estimated TEUs. 42,870 equals the number of TEUs that were gated out via truck from these ports on Friday, September 27th. 76,400 equals the number of TEUs that were gated out via truck from these ports on Monday, September 30th. They say in the past 24 hours, despite the threat of the strike, there have been 48 container ships that have been departed from the origin overseas with cargo aboard destined for the impacted ports, with CMA, CGM, and ELBE vessel leading the way with over 651 shipments aboard identified with the ILA port listed in the destination. We have shared yesterday new bookings for import and export using the impacted ports have decreased dramatically over the last 7 days, but have not in fact stopped entirely. Just yesterday, the TradeView platform identified 3,423 new shipments confirmed for export and 13,268 shipments confirmed for import. So that's quite a lot of cargo to be moving around, and we'll see how quickly this is actually resolved. But here's the leader of the union, which technically is not related in any way to Tony Soprano, which oddly reminiscent. And I don't know if he's almost playing a caricature, but he does have a polo, so at least he did moderately dress up. Of course, he didn't suit up like all men should, but he's wearing a gold chain. Now, this is first brought to our attention on the good old X Twitter by End Wokeness. He says, quote, "It's official, 45,000 port workers are now on strike from Maine to Texas." I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. Texas, as we call the freedom-loving state, or some might argue the freedom-loving country. And this is the head of the ILA union saying, "We will cripple you." Now, granted, of course, he's being bombastic. It's all about the economy crippling. So it's not like the old mob days where they're going to, take out the lead pipes. So some could probably argue there's some parallels to those methodologies to in terms of organization structures of the unions with mafia, but I partially digress. So I'll pull that up here, and it's not too long, only about a minute 38.
These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship.
Because you never heard domestic manufacturing, especially for automotive. I mean, one of the reasons we have so many quote-unquote foreign-owned companies like Mercedes and BMW, there's a reason they have huge, plants in the United States, not just cutting the cost of logistics to transport it, across the world, but also taxes and import like that. And don't get me wrong, the ineptitudes and corruption of the U.S. government on the left and the right have decreased a lot of areas of manufacturing in the U.S., but there's still a pretty hefty presence.
They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8.
Admitting they'll just be lazier than usual, and they'll work even slower than usual. When can this be automated again?
It's going to be like this.
Well, does he have a... Let's see there. I'm by no means a watch aficionado. I can appreciate a nice timepiece, granted. I have a nice... What is this? Garmin 220 or 230 Forerunner. Can't beat the price. It's free and it's green, so it's cool. But does he have a Rolex Submariner on his wrist? Let's see. So he's got a gold chain, which has not been fashionable since the late '80s, I suspect, even in the rap community. And is that right there? Video quality's already at the top. Damn. Some watch aficionado in the comment section. Is that blue Rolex Submariner? Or, as I recently called it, Submariner, which shows how cultured I am in regard to the timepiece community. Slowly but surely learning. Yeah, it looks like he has I wouldn't be surprised. He also has the golden, what is it, little wrist, what do you call this, a bracelet? A gold-plated bracelet or a gold bracelet?
Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
Yeah, not financial investment advice. However, if I had extra money to invest in anything, it'd be robotics technologies around import-export types of solutions. Because, again, now apparently they want a 77% increase in their income. Granted, it's over a couple of years, but they also, in terms of negotiating, they don't want any automation. They are resisting it with a passion because they think all the jobs will go away, which, again, not all the jobs are going to go away. There'll be different jobs and it'll be different capacities, but it's not like we're going to remove the need for import-export overnight. Even if we had 100%, I don't even think it's almost inconceivable to have 100% made in America. Just because, again, there's some natural resources that just aren't native to our country. So we'll never be 100%. We can increase that percentage over time, certainly. But yeah, it's interesting in terms of, I guess maybe they really just don't care about public perception or public support. Again, their jobs are pretty much set for life if they're part of the union. But I mean, in terms of the public sentiment, kind of like the teachers' unions, it really doesn't matter because they get paid no matter what. And this went pretty well. I got 11.9 million views and 59, was it 59 or 50? Yeah, 59,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Paul Zupas, saying, quote, sounds like a time for some quick and serious legal negotiations, getting 563 likes. You also have a little cartoon of Kamala Harris and another gal, and it says, oh geez, cover your ears here, children listening. Kamala Harris's cartoon says, I can fix this, I know a lot about cocks. The girl next to her goes, no, Kamala is docs. Got 1.3 thousand likes. Going down more and more. Yeah, someone by the name of Anna DB saying, best possible argument for America first out there. Why do most of our goods come on ships from China? I'm sorry, China. As when we read that, I'm sure we all, like myself, hear that in our head. I got 4.1 thousand likes, which, well, it's because other countries are much more business friendly in terms of lower regulations. They don't have the EPA putting them out of business or citing them with fines. They have less litigation, lower cost of labor. There's nearly infinite reasons why people and businesses manufacture goods outside of the US. It's overall much more advantageous. Now, granted, traditionally it used to be a trade-off in quality, though I can't but think Foxconn and Apple kind of proved that theory to be wrong, or showing that it could be done in terms of high quality goods made in China. But again, they also have a lot of things that come from the dollar store there. Now that got, again, 4.1 thousand likes. Mind Life Virus says, quite, why does this guy sound like so effing proud he's effing America now? Drop the Mafia BS union boss. Put your strike aside and help our country survive. Getting 6.1 thousand likes, which, I don't know, they're going to hold out for a long time. They can kneecap the entire U.S., well, a big part of the U.S. economy. They know they have a lot of bargaining power, which is kind of the big threat that they have. And in terms of ramping up in terms of there's the hiring, pejoratively, some people are known as scabs when you hire outside unionized labor. Again, there's 40,000+ union members. In order to pivot that much to private sector, pejoratively known as scabs or patriots, I think maybe we should alter that vernacular. Maybe call them just proud patriots or capitalist patriots, something to that effect. But that would take, I'm not sure how much realistic training it would be for some of the roles, but that would take a momentous amount of effort. I would think that might be a good business idea, but I partially jest. Someone by the name of Thomas Payne Bain says, this is what unions get Americans. They are already overpaid. Automation will make these workers obsolete. This strike makes a great case for automation, getting 6.6 thousand likes. And yet, very true, very similar to fast food industries. One of the reasons they have to increase automation is because, well, the cost of labor is just absorbently expensive and overpriced, especially when the government comes in and says, oh, yeah, you have to pay someone $20 an hour to flip a burger in California, which also lost 10,000 jobs in that instance. Though, granted, in terms of third-party logistics and manufacturer and software developers, makes different jobs. Scrolling down more and more. Someone by the name of Abby says, quote, there's something very fishy in the way he's gleefully threatening the entire country, getting 5.8 thousand likes. Well, kind of like a kid with a firecracker with a toy. Just sometimes they like to, I believe they call it flexing, the youth might say. Mrs. Caucus says, unions and are labor cartels who violate free association by even existing under the current labor laws with the NLRA. Striking is coercion/aggression. A free society would never be so paralyzed by this thuggery. These modern Luddites will only hasten automation of their jobs. We have 1.6 thousand likes, which, again, that's a big part of the negotiation. They're saying they don't want any automation. They don't want any retraining. Because, again, there'll be less lower skill jobs in those particular cases. Let's see. Catherine says, do what Ronald Reagan did. Air traffic controllers went on strike, and he fired everyone striking. They are U.S. ports. Fire everyone and let's make sure the needs of Americans are met. We can find full these jobs. Her words, not mine. Grammar be damned. She says they make $39 an hour and want a 77% pay raise. Wow. And 3.7 thousand likes. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more. See if there's any contrarian comments here. Because again, there are a lot of people in America who do love unions. I mean, they are a lot of union members. And again, a lot of the different industries have their own particular, branch of the union or flavor. Let's see, but so far I'm not seeing any contrarian statements yet. Let's see here. So this is by Red Pill Populist. They quote, USMX made an offer to ILA Monday to raise wages by nearly 50%, triple employer contributions to 401k, better healthcare, and kept language about automation. ILA rejected the offer and did not make a counter offer. This is not about the workers. So the strike is not about the workers. So I'm quote, getting 493 likes. Kyle Schumann says, quote, he's not playing around. He's not wrong. His people deserve to be respected and taken care of. A contrarian statement. Yeah, I just scrolled there for a little while, but actually, we're able to find one. See here. Miss Ravenbolt says, let's make ships obsolete. That's why importing everything is bad. Everyone wants to cut to someone else's business. Getting 921 likes. Well, that being said, even if you do manufacture in the USA, a lot of places they have pro unions, which increases the cost of labor in terms of people assembling it. Then I'm pretty sure you do have trucking unions. There are a lot of them out there. Unfortunately, there's not enough places where there's also right to work states where, again, there are some instances where you're bullied like a gang to join a union because you have no choice. I remember that was what I experienced when I was a youthful bad boy back growing up in the Midwest. We had to pay those dues, and even though it was a summer job, and we had no choice. You had to join the gang. I mean, the union in the grocery store. and they got our dues and our money. And because it was a summer job, I got nothing out of that. I was literally paid the state minimum wage, which is fine. It was very early in my career, if you even consider it a career job, just literally, bagging groceries. Going down more and more. Renegart says, again, some contrarian statistics. He says they want a 77% increase over the next 6 years. A longshoreman earn a top rate of $39 an hour. After 6 years, it'll be $69 per hour. And I highly doubt the massive pay increase will be the last demand. It's time to look at automation, getting 918. Let's make it 919 likes. So, oh geez, we'll do one more funny one about. There we go. The right King Todd says this dude thinks he's in The Sopranos. Time to bring in the AI robots. Getting 1,000 likes, which, funny enough, is actually looks like it's a automotive plant where you've seen increased automation throughout the years. Certainly, it'll be interesting to see how much can you really automate in terms of shipping containers. Obviously taking them out, taking them in, cleaning all those cargo ships. I mean, in terms of industry opportunity, this is the only thing that's going to stop it is the unions and politics. If it was a completely free market, again, the businesses would be putting every penny into automation and implementing it, swiftly. But again, right now, maybe the unions are going to say, you can pay us less, but we're going to stipulation you'll never use automation. It's just a great way to drive up the cost for all Americans for things that are being imported. But yeah, in terms of, do I think this will be settled within an hour? I mean, by the time this video is rendered or uploaded, maybe it'll be obsolete. It'll be, they already finished in a couple minutes ago. No, probably not. I think it's going to take a little while. Now, in terms of, obviously, they're a big union, politics come to play. I wonder if this is almost a political move. A lot of people are saying there's going to be an October surprise. What could it be? I mean, could this be an instance where, Kamala comes in and pretends to be like, oh yeah, we're the party of unions. We're going to do an agreement, get it hammered out, and everyone wins except the U.S. consumer. Or do you think this could be a big wedge issue that gets a lot of libertarians? Oh, no, I was going to say libertarians don't like unions in general. But do you think this might be a way to get some Democrats and some left-leaning folks to think, wait a minute, why is this single group of people allowed to kneecap the entire import economy and have such a big detrimental negative ripple effect and drive up the wages so much and what drive the cost so much? Should the private sector, fix that? But let me know in the comments your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Ford passing General Motors in EV sales Q3. Though, do they still lose $132,000 per EV? Again, Q2, they lost $132,000 per EV, with a lot of them collecting dust on dealer lots. Now, granted, most electric companies, and a lot of companies in general, do lose business in the first time when they're manufacturing something. And Tesla lost business for years, lost money for years. They believe Rivian is still losing about $32,000 per EV sold. Lucid is around $40,000 to $50,000, and most of them are moving in the right direction in terms of the loss per vehicle is becoming lesser. So they're getting closer to a break-even point and somebody in theory a profit. But again, it's a long-term thing, and the adoption rate in terms of the U.S. adoption rate for EVs is decreasing. Granted, the government could just keep kneecapping all manufacturers and force them to make EVs, and maybe we won't have a choice in a couple of years, as slowly but surely they've been doing. Now, this was brought to us thanks to Peter Johnson over at Electrek, which appropriate website name, literally electrek.co. Now, he says, quote, Ford officially overthrown by GM in Q3. What? Let's see here. Overthrown by GM in Q3? Did I get that wrong? Stop. Reverse that? Let's see here. On Monday, GM announced that EV sales surged 60% in the third quarter. However, Ford says it remains America's number 2 in the EV brand in 2024. Ford sold 23,509 electric vehicles in the third quarter, slightly less than the 23,957 sold in Q2, but still up from 20,000 a year ago. Let's see. Oh, my GM. Yeah, so again, apologies. Reverse that. So they say, quote, here's the breakdown. The company sold 13,392 Mustang E-Mach, which is disappointing, disgusting, has down 9.8% from Q3 2023. Ford Electric F-150 Lightning saw a higher demand with sales up 104.5% to 7,162. Trucks that can't tow anything. I added that last part. I say, quote, Ford E-Transit remains America's best-selling electric van with another 2,955 units sold in the third quarter. E-Transit sales reached 9,256 through September, a 67% year-over-year growth. With 62,095 EVs sold over the last 3 months, rival GM outpaced Ford. Several new all-electric GM models, including the Chevy Equinox, Blazer, and Silverado EVs, are hitting the market. The strong Q3 performance pushed GM's share of the U.S. market EVs up to 9.5%, up from 7.1% in Q2. I was gonna say you're not gonna. Most people will like this, but I can see the pictures of some of these EVs, which, yeah. What's the opposite of delightful? Horrifying? Viscerally disgusting? Yeah, I guess some people like them though. They say that quote. Despite this, Ford said it remained on top though first 9 months, 2024. Though in September, Ford EV sales reached 67,689 in the U.S. According to sales data, GM is actually number 2 in the U.S. EV market with 70,450 EVs sold in 2024 thus far. Of course, they say so to boost sales, Ford introduced a new Ford Power Promise program starting October 1st, 2024. Ford is giving all new EV buyers a free home charger and covering the cost of standard installation. According to Ford, most buyers don't realize the quote true benefits of driving an EV car, like home charging. The program is designed to convert potential buyers who are on the fence into going electric, which, I don't know about that. Now, of course, they also get all the benefits as more and more of them are able to use the Tesla charging stations around the U.S. So that's been increasing perhaps some of the folks' thoughts of adopting EV these days. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see which one ends on top, and how long can Tesla be the number one if they're really displaced long term. I mean, they were leaps and bounds ahead of the competition. A lot of people are saying the delta and the differences in technology are being lesser and lesser. And a lot of people are buying, other vehicles aside from Tesla just because of Elon's, political comments or libertarian mindset. So there are a lot of people who are buying vehicles, based on that as well that are not Tesla. But let me know in the comments. Do you think Tesla will be, foreseeable number one volume sales of EVs, for the next, couple of years, or do you think, the clock is ticking and it might be overcome soon? Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Culture Report podcast, you have Elon Starlink aid for Hurricane Helene going viral on the good old X Twitter. This is originally posted thanks to Sean Hendricks, saying, quote, please share and tag, hey Elon Musk, can you make Starlink free for the next 30 days in the disaster zone? It's really slowing us down from setting these up, and I'm putting them on my personal card. Gift cards won't seem to process. Elon responded, quote, we are making a system update to allow all Starlinks in the affected areas work regardless of payment. Software update hopefully completed by tomorrow at least. And that one pretty well got 18.4 million views as well as 234,000 likes, which they could see some of the state troopers with little Starlinks in the boxes there. One of the top comments coming from Colin Rugg saying, quote, huge, Starlink and everyday Americans are doing more for these victims than the federal government, unquote, getting 3.5 thousand likes, which, granted, that bar is pretty low. Unfortunately, the affected areas of the hurricane in the U.S. did not relabel their cities or their states Ukraine, so they will not be getting a lot of aid. So the U.S. did just cut another check, right under $8 billion for Ukraine recently. We're told this investment. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, doing more work than the federal government to assist those in need. God bless you, Elon, getting 6.7 thousand likes. Valentino Gomez says, people are prophets. Thank you for helping people in need, getting 1.3 thousand likes. Also have AKA saying, quote, let's go. Keep up the good work, Elon, getting 487 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, thank you for this, Elon. Once again, we're saving lives, getting 747 likes, even better. Cash Loren says, huge, Elon Musk is proving why capitalism is king and socialism sucks, getting 39 likes. American Pop Bear also simply says, this is huge, or let's be honest, as Trump would probably say, this is huge, the biggest, the greatest of all time. Something to that effect. Maybe that's the worst Trump impression you've heard all year, but yeah, I think that's an accolade in and of itself, if it's really the very worst one, perhaps. Is any contrary? I'm not seeing any contrarian statements yet. Let's see here. Florida One says, quote, Elon has done more for free speech and helping Americans in distress than Speaker Johnson or others in D.C., which, yeah, how's he have a job is beyond me. He got 426 likes. Nick Sorter says, quote, this is huge. I have been, geez, let's see. Grammar be damned. So I have been putting all the subscriptions from Starlinks were set up in a region on my personal credit card. Many of these folks can't afford it. This helps a ton, getting 4.7 thousand likes. Let's see here. Well, AI picture of Elon and Trump, it says time to save America, getting 213 likes. Liv Vile says thanks Elon's picture with Elon and a flag, getting 556 likes. Generated pictures of Elon, AI generated pictures of Elon. Says Elon Musk is serving humanity, getting 996 likes for that one. Yeah, it's been fascinating to see. I think we're giving Ukraine $200 billion now. $200 billion. Again, that's cash as well as physical materials, or a combination of those two values. And yet, you also have U.S. FEMA apparently saying, oh yeah, we don't have the funds to help out here. Really? That's just, I don't know, it kind of shows the U.S. government will give money to every citizen on the planet except for the ones who actually pay the bills, which is, these days, shouldn't be too surprising anymore, let's be honest. But let me know in the comments, do you think, I mean, shoot, sometimes it's kind of the advertising money can't buy, so to say. I mean, this type of goodwill is, I think, infinitely more effective than like buying a 30-second time slot on a YouTube ad or like a commercial on the TV. You know, just literally making a dent in the universe. I think long term it's going to pay off for Elon. But let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, going to the VP debate, you have JD Vance calling out the moderators for lying to the audience, which no one should really be too surprised. I mean, it's so ridiculous that all of these debates are always on left-leaning news sites. The moderators are always in no way moderate at all. And Republicans keep caving and just, I mean, maybe it's a metaphor for what they do in Congress usually these days. They just cave and do whatever the right or whatever the left wants. I mean, they just, they disappoint a lot, especially when it comes to, Second Amendment. How the NFA Act of 1934 is still allowed to be around is disgusting, unconstitutional, and disappointment to Republicans who say they love, gun rights. You say it, great. Work on that. It's almost 100 years. Get that repealed. But I partially digress. Now, Elon actually retweeted on this on the good old X Twitter. And this is originally posted by Doge Designer saying JD Vance called out the moderators for lying to the audience, and CBS immediately mutes him. Legacy media is clearly controlled by Democrats. And Elon says, true. Not too long, only about a minute there. There you can see here.
And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP One app has not been on the books.
Did we have phone apps in 1990, Tim? No, we did not. We had the flip phones back in the day. Shoot, the Motorola Razr is an icon of the telecom community. But yeah, we didn't have apps on the phones like we have now.
Since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
Yes. Look how smug that not beautiful woman is. Ridiculous. Thankfully, went pretty fast, so hopefully more and more people realize this. Got 26.2 million views as well as 362,000 likes. One of the first ones, comments coming from the rabbit hole. It has a little infographic there, and he says, quote, they didn't fact check Wall's border crossings, clear bias. And yeah, Tim Walz said border crossings are down since Donald Trump left office, which I don't know how mentally vacuous you have to be to believe that. Again, it's estimated about anywhere between 8 and like 20 million illegals have crossed in the past 41 months. It's an insane statistic. And here you can see a nice little graph where you look right literally shows every single year when Trump is in office, all is at low, and then when Kamala and Biden got in office, it skyrocketed like the inflation rate. And that little graph got 1.9 thousand likes. I said plenty of memes, but did not, in fact, use a meme to actually respond. A little disappointing. But nevertheless, the plain of memes says, quote, it was 3 women against JD Vance tonight, getting 3.4 thousand likes. Bounty Go says the left loves to censor, getting 1,000 likes, and true, yeah. Why they had the Twitter files. I got 1.1 thousand likes now. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, they're the party of censorship, and they proved that tonight, getting 4.3 thousand likes. Yeah. Fun fact, was Tim Walz, was he muted? Mm-hmm. Paul Zupa says, quote, the moderators were in the bag of Mr. Walz. Doesn't matter. Vance dominated, getting 1.8 thousand likes. Base Electrician says, well, quote, can we start over? And it's Tim Walz looking like Red and Stimpy from that cartoon. Getting 140 likes. I also have Mr. Bigglesworth memes. This is a little clip of Mr. Walz.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look,
I mean, You know, wise man once said you could judge a man by the company he keeps. Now, it's fascinating that Tim Walz keeps school shooters in his company. It's very unusual, to say the least. And we have all the blunders during the debate, of all the, speaking mishaps. That's got to be one of the most hilarious, entertaining ones. That got 92 likes. Chuck Costello says, quote, they know what they are doing. They are on the mouthpiece of the Democratic Party, getting 930 likes. Which, again, why aren't any of these debates ever on a moderate or even a right-leaning news outlet? Because, I mean, say leftists would never agree to actually come on a debate where it's actually fair. They have to have, work on their competency in order to win. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, Vance put them in their place, though, and it never happened again, getting 339 likes. Democrat Media TM says JD is a G, and it's JD Vance, but they put the pixelated glasses on him. And Tim Walz is looking at him, and they inserted the text saying shit, getting 195 likes. Oh, jeez, someone has a picture of Tim Walz, and they have that quote, I've become friends with school shooters, getting 215 likes. Let's see. He also said, they asked him if he would ban guns, and he said, I'm a gun owner, and capitulated the entire time, never actually answered the question. And again, Kamala Harris has said she will. Let's see here. Any other? Yeah, no, not a lot of contrarian statements in terms of people, speaking up or trying to stick up for Tim. The meme lab also says, welcome. It's a picture of Tim standing between those gals, and it says, welcome to tonight's VP debate. Getting 832 likes. Life Val says all these 2024 debates are held on CNN, ABC, CBS, while they are all leftist propaganda, but Trump and Vance are absolutely crushing them. 908 likes, which, I think they did pretty good, especially uphill battle for him. I think in terms of JD Vance, it definitely helped that, every time he does, actually talks to the public press, which something that, really don't do on the left, but he's basically sparring with all these leftist activist reporters, so he's pretty articulate and he knows how to actually justify his cases. So I think, practicing, kind of like, going to the gym, he's been working out, so to say. So I think that's one of the reasons he did so exceptional during the debate. Now, how many people actually had their minds changed? I'm a little skeptical because a lot of people are just kind of deadlocked into their own political parties. But let me know. Do you think, JD Vance calling out the moderators, do you think did any good? Do you think, people just kind of locked in at this point? Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Kamala Harris's husband apparently accused of assaulting women. Interesting. Again, going back to what company they keep. Now, this is first brought to us attention thanks to Colin Rugg saying, quote, new second gentleman Doug Emhoff accused of physically assaulting his ex-girlfriend days after MSNBC host Jen Psaki said Emhoff was reshaping masculinity. According to the Daily Mail, Emhoff hit a woman so hard she physically spun around. New details are also revealed that Emhoff allegedly caused his nanny to have a miscarriage after impregnating her. 3 sources who spoke with the outlet say Emhoff got jealous that his girlfriend at the time was talking to other men. The incident allegedly happened in a ballet line after a May 2012 Cannes film event in France. The incident has been confirmed by 3 friends. The 3 friends also claim Emhoff admitted to his ex-girlfriend that he impregnated his children's nanny and caused her to have a miscarriage. Jesus. There you can see what Jen Psaki has to say. Again, is also the cliche, going to the government, going to the private sector, and that very symbiotic relationship.
Important part, an interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny. I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the
important part, an interesting.
Yeah, he looks like he eats a lot of soy. And can't bench. But I partially digress. Got 1.9 million views and 225,000 likes. Now, this is actually a screenshot from the Daily Mail. And it says, quote, Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, forcibly slapped his girlfriend for flirting with another man in a booze-fueled assault after a day 2 star-studded gala. It got 1.4 thousand likes. Colin Rugg actually responded saying, well, the media actually reported on this, getting 1.1 thousand likes, which, no, they won't. Chuck Costello says, not good looking, Doug, getting 559 likes. Which, why is it not Kamala Costello? I thought are they married or not? Colin Rugg says, thankfully, Kamala is raising awareness, and Kamala had a post from 2020 saying, quote, for many domestic violence survivors, including children, stay at home at home could heighten the risk of abuse. If you or someone who needs help, call this hotline 24/7. Interesting how her party also wants to, disarm women and take away their God-given right to defend themselves. Remember, God did make man, but Samuel Colt made man equal. Now that little infographic got meme of Kamala got 395 likes. May says, he looks like an absolute sleazeball. This wouldn't surprise anyone, getting 554 likes. Let's see. Here's Colin Rogue responding saying, quote, he looks like a sleazeball who's trying to brand himself as a submissive Gentile husband. Yeah, getting 601 likes. Let's see here. Missile Biggersworth Memes says this was the highlight of the debate. And it's JD Vance looking at the camera like Jim from The Office. I don't know if I probably just look weird when I try it. But nevertheless, he says, go ahead, you start. And Tim Wall says, I'm friend of school shooters. Then it goes back to the picture of the comic strip of JD Vance saying, see, I don't have to say anything, I won. And Tim Wall's looking awkward and scared. Another picture getting 497 likes. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Missile Briggleworth's meme says the mainstream media and Democrats are evil. This picture of a fetus with a, what's it called? The bandana and the tattoo and a switchblade. It says unborn babies disguise themselves as death row inmates so liberals will defend their right to live. That looks like it was a baby Babylon Bee article from 2020. Got 250 likes. Thick Shelled Egg says, I'm pretty sure he changed his ways since Kamala Harris's husband kissing Miss Biden, getting 195 likes. And he did not turn to stone when he looked at her. That's fascinating. That might warrant a community note. You look into that. Also, Gunther Eagleman says, quote, so he bangs nannies and hits women, not very masculine, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Let's see. Cash Lorenz says, violence against women and pressuring them to have abortions. I can see why the left is so enamored with Doug's reshaping of masculinity. Yeah, getting 16 likes. Let's see. And not too many contrarian statements in this regard. And, geez, there's a lot. Who kisses strangers on the lips? So there's another picture of him kissing Jill Biden. Creepy as hell. Oh, geez. Some disgusting AI pictures of Kamala Harris, and she's holding up a sign that says, he did this. There's a lot of those memes. Geez, the proud elephant has a picture of Tim Walz from the debate looking awkward. Actually, clarify. Awkwarder than usual. And the caption says, that look just before Doug Emhoff slaps you. It got 134 likes. Not great news. We'll see if anything brews to the surface in terms of, thanks to so much behavior, leftist, and people on the right as well, in terms of, just kind of looking over the flaws of their candidate. I wonder if this will get any movement, or, in terms of, what demographics, JD Vance or, Donald Trump really needs to regain that they lost throughout the prior elections was, suburban, stay-at-home liberal women. And it really depends. I don't know if they'll actually believe this news, if this will be the topic that gets them to change their vote. Because, again, they're the party of abortion, so I don't know if they'll see this as even an issue. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be a huge thing. They'll shift the entire election. I just think a lot of people are set in their ways on the left and the right. I don't know how many undecided voters there are really out there these days. But let me know. Do you think this could potentially have a huge implication on the upcoming presidential election? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Gavin Newsom signing a law so that you actually can't pass a law requiring voter IDs, which is grammatically quite awkward, but I think technically still correct. Now, this comes to us thanks to the good old X Twitter. Specifically, it's the rabbit hole saying, quote, so much for protecting democracy. We'll actually go into the actual specific article as well. Now, they say, quote, California outlaws local voter ID rules. The legislation is a direct response to conservative Orange County's push to require voter IDs at the polls. So you want to require IDs at the polls? Banned. You can't have that. Which, a lot of people are saying this is stupid, I think only I would use the vernacular mentally vacuous, but I don't think so. I think it's actually a calculated thing that they're doing, because they want illegal votes. There's no other reason, to oppose voter ID than wanting illegal votes. That's the only reason you want it. To say that people who are Hispanic or African American, they can't get IDs. It's almost, the bigotry of low expectations is so racist, it's disgusting. I can't believe they stand on the left and get away with it. Spoiler alert, my family came from Cuba. I was born in America, but we all got IDs just fine. It was a pretty simple process. Don't get me wrong, going to like the DMV is probably a great example of the ineptitudes of the U.S. government in general, but it's it's a pain in the rear. But again, it still slowly works. It doesn't take much. The barrier to get an ID is so low in the United States, it's almost comical. Now, going to the specific article, and then again, we'll go back to the actual comments, which are infinitely more interesting. The link will actually pull it up here. Let's see here. They remove that link. Let's see. I'd be irate if they actually move things around. Really? I have to go to the Google. California outlaws. All right. Let me actually pull it up here. What publication did they originally post this in? California outlaws local ID. California outlaws voter ID rules. Appreciate everyone's patience today. It's been a crazy week. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna read this. Also reposted by Owen Gregorian. He actually pointed the specific article at Politico. There we go. Let's see here. Now let's say, quote, Sacramento, California. Local governments in California will be barred from establishing local laws that require residents to present identification to vote in elections under a new law signed by Gavin Newsom. Newsom. The legislation from Senator Dave Min, an Orange County Democrat, of course, running for Representative Kate Porter's open house seat in direct response to a can't believe this. They call it is political. So again, everyone has their frame of reference and their opinion. They say this is a controversial ballot that was approved by the voters in Huntington Beach, requiring people to show ID at the polls, which will take effect January 1st. So interestingly enough, this is going to be after the big presidential election that everyone is thinking about darn near 24/7. Now they say, quote, California is one of 14 states that do not require voter IDs at the polls, according to the National Conference of State Legislators, which that is just so stupid. It just erodes what little faith there is in terms of the election process. But really, 14 states, you don't need an ID? Really? You need an ID to do darn near everything, from checking out a library book to buying cough syrup to going pretty much buying alcohol, renting a car, getting in as you might say, getting in the club. Pretty much most major activities. To get in a sports ball stadium sometimes. And yet you don't need, they think you shouldn't need an ID to do, debatably, one of the most important things people do these days. Which is cast your ballot to vote. That is just ridiculous. And I say, quote, the Republican-led city whose leaders often tussle with Sacramento Democrats has maintained that its status as a charter city gives it a home rule over elections administration. But Attorney General Rob Bonta and the Secretary of State Shirley Weaver aren't buying it. The officials sued Huntington Beach in April to invalidate the law, arguing it interferes with the state voting rights protections. It's a right in California to not need an ID to vote. Fascinating, their priorities over there. And they say, quote, Minnie's legislation is one of nearly half dozen bills introduced by Democrat state lawmakers this year, looking to close in the legal gray areas in state election laws. The change aims to prevent Huntington Beach, Shasta County, and other conservative local governments from establishing election policies that are often driven by the suspicions of voter fraud, which, yeah, if you have no ID, it's pretty easy to commit that crime. Ridiculous. Legislation from Senator Steve Bradford, signed into law early this week on Wednesday, clarifies that record-keeping procedures for secure election states increases the Secretary of State's regulatory power over poll books and over voting systems used in local elections. This is hilarious. They call them ultra-conservatives. That sounds like it should be on a t-shirt or a mug. It says, quote, ultra-conservative local officials in Shasta County unsuccessfully attempted to dump electronic voting machines last year, citing baseless concerns over voter fraud. Their arguments mimic claims about voting machines made by former President Donald Trump in the 2020 election, which I'm actually surprised Political actually refers to Donald Trump as the president in this particular case. Going to the comments section down here. And moderately viral, got 10.8 million views as well as 3.7 thousand likes. I'll just point out that's not a great like ratio. I guess maybe people are just referencing that they don't like this happened. Partially digress. Now, of course, now that I scroll down the article, refresh now it's there, but nevertheless, TVD says Gavin Newsom in a nutshell, and it's Gavin Newsom with paint looks like a clown getting 292 likes. Rebel responded saying, quote, terrible taste in legislation. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, you must destroy democracy to save democracy. Democrats, apparently. Got 32 likes, which oddly reminiscent of, remember Pelosi said, we have to pass the bill in order to read it. We also have Stock Monkey saying the Democrats like to say that Trump is a danger to democracy, but the Democrats who are often the danger to democracy getting 209 likes, which, yep. A lot of metaphors, the pot calling the kettle black, or, old Marxist theory, you accuse your enemies of what you're doing. Let's see here. Fight with memes. A+ for name. They actually used a meme or meme in the response, in addition to some text. They say in text, quote, I don't want to be that guy, but it sounds like they might be trying to hide something. It's a crazy looking guy on the street saying how Democrats win elections. It says the secret ingredient is crime. Getting 104 likes. Let's see, any contrarian statements? Not yet. Awad Hassin says, quote, exactly that if they strip away basic voter protections like ID requirements, what's next? The move isn't about fairness, it's about control. Voter ID is common sense. Getting 37 likes. Which, of course, is the United States in 2024. Common sense is, unfortunately, very uncommon, so to say. Scrolling down more and more. There's got to be some Californians that they like this, maybe. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Octavian Voss says all 14 states interesting. And it says unauthorized immigrants. California at 3.8 million. And they're all Democrat except Wyoming. What the hell's up with Wyoming? That's a little disappointing. It's supposed to be Cowboys. Nevertheless, yeah, so California, I'm not sure how recent this reporting is, but it says 3.8 million unauthorized immigrants. It's illegal aliens is what you really call them. New York at 1.2 million. New Jersey, 900,000. Illinois, or people improperly call it Illinois, being 800,000. Massachusetts, 600,000. Nevada, 380,000. Oregon, 240,000. Pennsylvania, 440,000. Minnesota at 180,000. New Mexico, 110,000. Maine at 10,000. Maryland, 550,000. Vermont, 10,000. As well as Wyoming, 10,000. They're all Democrat except for Wyoming, which, again, perhaps Wyoming, because of the culture over there, maybe instead of a voter ID, they simply have a hat scanning device in which if you walk in with your, traditional cowboy hat that's unique to you, the AI cameras can automatically detect who your actual, your ID of who you are based on your specific hat. We don't know. Further research is needed. I'm only, of course, partially jesting over there. That little infographic did get 10 likes. Unfortunately, I'm looking, I don't see the actual site to the actual source. So maybe take it with a grain of salt. Robert Bird also says, what's wrong with requiring IDs evoking 19 likes? He also has someone who did AI of Gavin Newsom dressed up in as Xi Jinping with the, I forget what you call it. Is it not commode? The fancy Chinese looking t-shirt, no, not t-shirt, long sleeve shirt with buttons. You lose me at the moment. I'm obviously not a fashion aficionado. I just buy one suit once and make it last. And obviously it's timeless for 430 episodes. It's like a champ. Now, it has the text on Gavin Newsom saying, quote, G Newsom bans fair elections in California, getting 7 likes. Let's see. Yes, here we go. Carrie Christina Brando says they are lying. And this strategy is becoming more and more viral because I think it resonates with so many people. The kind of thinking this is actually true. Now, it's called the Cloven Pivot Strategy. And it says, quote, a political strategy to overload the American public welfare system to the point where it creates a crisis and bankruptcy in the nation, leaving America no choice but to adopt a socialist as communist agenda. At this point, I only got 1. Let's make it 2 likes there. 3. I was going to say, it's skyrocketing likeness. It's trending, as youth might say. Which, yeah, when you look at what politicians have done to the United States, maybe under the left and the right, they've ramped up that debt, created more crisis, and, yeah. I got Kami, some people might call her Kami Kamala. That's what I would call her if I used more nicknames. But she's talking about literally price fixing as well as gun confiscation. Should scare the literal hell out of most folks. Let's see. One or two more comments. Michael Servo says the American people are being replaced by illegal immigrants. Wake the F up, people. Getting 6 likes. So yeah, it's I guess it is interesting because, again, there are conservative parts of California. A lot of states do have, don't get me wrong, a lot of states are, more red or more blue, but there are still, areas where you have contrarian political ideologies. I mean, look at Texas. You have Austin, which is historically, they say keep Austin weird for a reason. And it's a deep, deep blue. It's the bluest start of all of the great country called Texas. And even California, there are some places that are actually very much red or, right leaning that actually want to, install, actual faith in the elections and make sure people are only voting if they're allowed to. And they're trying to pass those laws, but, the state of California is saying, nope, you are not allowed to do that. Now, again, this goes into effect January 1st, so maybe it'll have more effect. Obviously, right now, it's a local level, California. But, yeah, I can't but wonder, are those states going to change anytime soon in terms of the 14 that, don't have that requirement? Now, what are your thoughts? Do you think the common consensus these days, like the average American understands it's important to have voter ID and they don't think it's controversial to ask for it? But I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments because, as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Bank of America is, they have a little bit of an outage, and some people saying, oh, yeah, I have no money. Which, yeah, fascinating. I'm not sure this is part of a greater cybersecurity attack. I don't think it's coincidence. Just a week earlier, you had MoneyGram. They were also hit as well. They're a very large payment processing company, headquartered out of the great state, or some would argue great country of Texas. Now, this specifically is brought to us thanks to Ariana Biano, who's a writer over at The Independent, which they say, quote, Bank of America is down. Users report their widespread, showing an empty balance during widespread outage. Nearly 20,000 customers reporting having trouble accessing their accounts. Which, it's got to be one of those horrifying experiences ever. And they say, quote, thousands of Bank of America customers reported trouble accessing their bank accounts in the afternoon after a financial institution faced a widespread outage. On social media, customers said they could not view their balances. Those that could view their accounts said they were met with a $0 balance. For many, a quote, connection error message popped while trying to log into the banking app. The message said it was, quote, unable to complete your request, and it said try again later. At 1:15 earlier, it said nearly 20,000 customers said they're having trouble, according to Down Detector, which reports web outages, which one of my favorite websites. If you ever think, I don't know if it's my network being slow and you don't want to feel like running a network analysis or, just going to, go to a website that'll measure your network speed, you gotta just go check out Down Detector to see if, that specific website you're trying to, look into, if a lot of people are having that same issue. Now, I can't imagine, it looks like someone took a screenshot. Can't imagine how scary that'd be. Throughout my life, there's been times when it's gotten close to zero, but it's just usually just hard times make us strong men, thankfully. But yeah, I can't imagine it being exactly at zero. This is looks like someone by the name of Miss Mary tweeted saying, what's going on? Why is anyone talking about their account balances being zero? And yeah, her savings, her safe balance savings as well as advantage savings were at zero. And they say, quote, it's unclear what caused the outage. In a statement, a spokesperson for Bank of America says, quote, some clients are experiencing an issue accessing their account and balance information today. Those issues are being addressed, have largely been resolved. We apologize for any inconvenience. Customers who are experiencing the outage flock to social media platforms such as X and Reddit to confirm if the others are having the same issues. It looks like a lot of people were, in fact, having those same issues of themselves. They say, quote, Bank of America experienced an outage earlier this summer when CrowdStrike had an issue as well, which they didn't invent Y2K, but CrowdStrike, jeez, that was a day I didn't get any sleep when we were putting those fires out. But yeah, there's an issue where, that caused an outage, but that was a bad update. Thankfully, not malicious. Now, a lot of people are speculating if this, technically with the SEC ruling, now if a publicly traded company, if they're breached, they have to, it's a little big as far as they have to give notice to public in a appropriate timing and let people know, like, hey, we've had this malicious issue. Now, a lot of people are speculating, well, maybe it's just an outage in terms of maybe they had a networking issue, maybe some updated, a certain line of code or something with the website and the app not working. But I don't know, maybe it's because I'm in cybersecurity, so maybe I'm inherently more paranoid than the average Joe. And I can't but wonder, like, you have two major financial institutions having very issues where people cannot access their finances. So I can't but wonder, is this a coordinated attack upon the financial institutions? Either way, you have one job as a bank, and you have to have uptime, you have to serve your clients, especially, everyone wants to check their balance, make sure they're okay, especially if you're getting close to payday, you got your credit cards, you got your rent that's due. That's one. Some people don't have that stuff on auto pay. You need to get into that. And yet, Bank of America, in instance, I'm not sure if there's their network configuration issue. I'm not sure if maybe their ISP or their internet service provider went down. They didn't have redundancies in place. They're not really giving us much in terms of the actual data. They're just saying, oh yeah, it's been resolved. great spokesperson or spokesman. What's really going on, though? And I wonder if we'll ever find out. Now, at the end of the day, one of the biggest metrics, especially your tech company, which, financial, fine tech, I mean, it's uptime. How many hours of the year, what's that percentage of uptime where your app and your business is up and running? I mean, it used to be 3 nines is a good thing in terms of, 99.9% uptime. Now, that's actually considered quite low by, industry standards for tech. But yeah, the fact that people couldn't access their bank accounts and you're, such a big tech presence. I mean, it's a tech company and they couldn't access the tech. I mean, like I say, Bank of America, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.